Mic test. Mic test. Test. Mic 1, 2, 3. Mic test 1, 2. Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. What's up with your faces? This is Dionism, ang gamer na may pinakamalapit na bahay sa balat ng K-pop, and we're currently listening to Attitude by IVE. Wait lang, yung tuta ako. What's up, what's up, what's up? It has been almost 1 month no na hindi ako nakapag-stream, so welcome back to me. Happy New Year 2026, Merry Christmas and everything. Ay putik Papa P, hello, welcome to the stream. Kumusta dyan? Kumusta yung sa Davao? Davao just experienced a 3.6 magnitude earthquake daw. Very recently. Like just a few hours ago. Kumusta dyan Papa P? May aftershocks ba? But anyway, ayun, lumilindol and we're good naman. Good to know po. Stay safe po kayo dyan. Anyway, the plan for this afternoon stream, as you can see on our titles and our category, nasa Team Fight Tactics tayo to start 2026. We're gonna play some Team Fight Tactics or TFT. Currently we're in set 16. Nag-aftershock ngayon lang pero napakahina. Okay. Can stay safe po kayo dyan, Papa P. Kayo ni Ivy, everyone sa inyong family, and lahat ng mga nasa Davao currently na-experience yung mga aftershocks. Sana po wala kang damage sa inyong mga properties, sa inyong mga lives. Sana po kayo ay safe and sound. But let me go and change scenes. Okay. Kumusta tayo dyan? Kumain na ba kayo, Papa P? Time check, guys. 5 minutes after 4, no, 7 minutes. Delayed pala to ng 2 minutes yung ano ko, yung digital clock ko dito. Malapit. But anyway, 4:08. Nagmerienda na ba kayo? But yeah. Let me introduce you. Come here. Come here. I already introduced this guy Two-Pack Tuesday for this year. But here is Zero, our new puppy, new member of our family. He is a Dachshund mix. He is 12 years old. Nakuha namin siya kay Stan. Speaking of Stan, nasa Davao si Stan. Kinumusta ko si Stan kanina, okay naman daw siya. Di pa, gutom nga eh. Pero may tinatapos muna na edit. Oh, sige. Yeah, he's a Dachshund mix. Yung nanay niya, na biological mother. May ganun ba sa mga aso? May stepfather ka ba? Ganun ba? Wala naman siguro. No? But yeah, yung mom niya, si Nami, yung aso nila Stan, is pure Dachshund. Tapos yung tatay is Dachshund mix. Dachshund plus Terrier. So siya, quarter Terrier na to siya. Tapos 3/4 Dachshund. Di ba? So again, this is Zero. Pinangalanan siyang Zero kasi yung mama ko obsessed sa Cook Zero. Gusto ko sana i-name sa kanya Luffy. Kasi yung nanay niya, Nami. So Luffy sana. Pero okay lang yung Zero. Para naman siyang Cook Zero. Tingnan nyo. Sigonya, wagit si baba. Ay, ganun pala yun. Sigonya, wagit si baba. Baho, uy. Kailangan na siyang liguin pero di pa siya pwedeng liguin kasi nag second dose lang siya ng vaccine nung kailan yon? Nung Monday. Anong araw ba tayo today? It is currently Wednesday. So yeah, a couple days ago. So by next week Tuesday pa siya pwedeng liguin pero ang baho niya. Baho, bang tae. Paliguan nun stream. Ay, hindi pwede. Baka basta hindi pa siya pwede kasi 7 days after nung vaccine, hindi pa siya pwede liguan daw. Sabi. Pwede. Gawin natin content si Zero, no? But yeah, he's actually currently our third dog. May dalawa pa kaming aso nasa labas. Si Hichul tsaka si Momo. Matagal na yun sila. Was this guy we just got him January 2. Kinuha namin siya January 2 actually. Actually supposed to be December kasi birthday netong ng letter niya is October 9, 2025. Then of course, hindi naman pwede agad kunin yun. Pinost nila Stan na nung December last month. So, I already expressed interest early December. Kunin sana namin nung birthday ko, December 17. Pero, we decided kasi after Christmas punta agad kaming Pampanga. So, hindi pa namin siya pwedeng kunin kasi walang magbabantay. Pag kinuha namin siya nung 17. Birthday gift ko sana sa sarili ko. Pero, ang primary owner nito ay si Mama Si Mama yung gumagasto sa kanya Kasi alam ko, si Mama, gusto niya, she really wanted to actually buy up or get a puppy. Not just buy, but get a puppy, no? Not necessarily Dachshund. Pero plano ni Mama na kumuha ng puppy pag magre-retire kasi siya next year. Tapos yun timing, nag-post sila na may aso silang pinapa-rehome. Kasi accidental na preggy yung mama niya Hindi dapat kasi I think sa pure Dachshund nila dapat ipapakasta kaso na accidental casting nung basta hindi ko alam yung full story basta ganon. So again, say hello and say goodbye to Zero. Ilalapag ko na siya ulit. Bye-bye. Anyway, so our plan is to play some ranked games. We are currently Platinum. Wait lang, ba't ganun? Sorry, you were removed from the party. Kakagawa ko lang ng party. Awit naman. Ayun, Platinum 2, 69 LP. Nag-wave na si Papa P sa'yo. Bye-bye. But, actually before that, wait lang, pause ko lang muna yung Spotify ko. Because I saw this morning, Mort Dog had, wait lang. Ayan. Tabi yung browser ko. I think Mort Dog had a new patch rundown. Ito nga. Ito ba? 16.2? Because we are currently at 16.1 ata. 16.1C? I'm not sure when this is going to be implemented sa C server.
Hey everybody.
But let's watch this first. 46 minutes.
Riot Mort here, and it is time for the patch 16.2 rundown.
Yeah. Sobrang tagal nung patch na to. 16.1 was like the whole month of December. Usually within like couple of weeks may patch agad Pero meta report yan. Yung last patch was 3 weeks ago. No. 16.1. Siguro sobrang tagal. Or it felt like it was very long. Maybe it's just me. But yeah.
Down, yes, the 5 weeks.
So 16.2, 5 weeks pala lang. I think i-explain niya bakit. But yeah, we're currently at 16.1C, yung sa Southeast Asia server. But yeah, we'll see. Let's just watch this.
Hey everybody, Riot Mort here, and it is time for the patch 16.2 rundown. Yes, the 5 weeks of winter is over, and we are on to the next patch. And as always, I'm going to be joined by Tim, our head of live. Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm glad to be back. I've been itching for a new patch after 5 weeks of dinosaurs, pirates,
dinosaurs.
Now, before we jump into the patch, real quick, since it's been a while, how was Paris? Do you enjoy the Paris Open?
It was a lot of fun. I think
Paris.
the last event I went to for TFT was the Vegas Open, and they had a smaller venue the first time, and so I was completely blown away by the venue this time. It really felt like TFT Con.
Nice.
And I met a lot of fun people, saw a lot of fun TFT, learned a lot, and then as Set 16 happens, the meta shifted entirely in a week.
Into dinosaurs. Nice.
Yeah, where's my Barons?
Dinosaurs.
And my Annies that everyone was afraid of?
True.
Dinosaurs.
True.
Dinosaur.
I do get a nice "I told you so" on the dinosaur though. Pilt over. It's pretty good. So anyway, we're finally here. We're at a patch. Now, I tweeted about this briefly, but one of the things to note about this patch is that our branch cut happened before the break. So we were able to do stuff before the break that we'd planned, but anything that happened after the break, we were kind of limited to only micro patch changes. So that meant no like text changes. We can't do system changes, no unlock condition changes, anything that required localization, all off the table for this patch. We're going to save a lot of those bigger changes for 16.3. That being said, I still think this is a nice chunky patch that you guys are going to be happy with.
Okay, well, before you get into it, I just hope, I'm just gonna say what I want for the patch. Alert muna ako da may i-rush lang. Sige, tas magmerenda na rin kayo, Papa P. Ingat ka dyan. Ingat kayo dyan. So for this patch 16.2, I really want to, I am expecting, no, that they kind of nerf T-Hex or Piltover a little bit. Because again, they just said the whole meta is just dinosaurs, or a lot of dinosaurs. Nag-send ng photo si Stan. What's up? Okay. Right, give me 1 sec. I'm just replying to some messages. Some urgent messages lang. Okay. Again, okay. Sorry. Just really urgent messages from Stan GX. Still more messages. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. So again, for this patch, hopefully they nerf. Again, Mortdog did say they can't do a lot of the system changes, but that hopefully there's some nerf in some shape or form with Piltover or T-Hex. I hope they do something, or they buff Azir, because I really like Azir. I'm biased to Azir. Or Shurima, or at least they make Shurima a little bit easier. The 4 Shurima, I hope they make that just a little bit easier to achieve, because right now it's really difficult to get that. And then what else? I hope they buff Bilgewater. I hope they buff, what else? The what else do I like? I like Demacia. The vertical Demacia is really sucks right now. Yordle is not very good as well. Like Vagar, Vagar is not very, what you call this, satisfying. I'm not sure if that's the word, but I feel that's the correct word there. Vagar is not very satisfying to unlock. What else? Ionia. With regards to Ionia, I hope that Trials of Twilight becomes easier to get, or like the 10 Ionia augment is easier to get as well. For nerfs, again, I really hope they nerf Piltover or T-Hex. I would want them to nerf just mostly Piltover and T-Hex, I think. Or they will probably nerf Tryndamere a little bit, because I've been seeing a lot of Tryndamere as well. So yeah, that's what I'm expecting to see. Let's see what they actually do.
Other thoughts?
Yeah, I think 16.2 and 16.3 are going to be the two biggest patches remaining in the set, and I think after that we should be in that steady state where people are free to explore and discover, and everything should be in a close enough spot.
Yep. Cool. Well, let's dive right in here. First off, on the encounter side, we just have one new encounter that we were planning with, all the Gwen stuff going on, all the cool Gwen cosmetics, and that is a Gwen
interesting
encounter.
pair of scissors.
And the way
that
this
cuts
one
items
works
into components.
is after each carousel for the first 3, Gwen will also gift you an extra random component and a pair of scissors that cuts items into components. So it gives you the ability to like slam
like
items,
that.
then break them apart. You'll probably see
like-
a lot of best in slot items on this.
That's good. I think that's good, especially for like maybe new players, for like lower elo, where you have, especially now that you have a lot of freedom when it comes to items, because you also get removers after every creep round. So it's like it's easier for you to play with your items. And now if we get the Gwen augment as well, or not the augment, the encounter, where you always get a pair of scissors after every carousel, you can play around with your items more or easier, especially for lower elo
encounter, because people will be able to use that and make that into what they're looking for. We pulled out of the Draven, Lysandra, and Teemo encounter and a couple others. You can see here the numbers, but it'll be about 6%, so should be a fun new encounter to play with.
Yeah, TFT always needs more Gwen. So, improvement.
True. People do like Gwen. I do see a lot of chibi Gwens in my games. Cool.
Yeah.
All right,
The
on
new
the trade
chibi
side,
Gwen.
Bilgewater, the 2-cost price is going to...
Why are they nerfing Bilgewater? That doesn't make sense. Okay, definite. I like just electrical overwhelm.
Go up,
Let's
just a
see.
little
Ayaw
bit.
pangunahan si Mart Dog.
This is mostly to slow down the tempo around things like Graves early on. Over time, people who really started to optimize Bilgewater really understood the power of Graves in particular. We're just slowing this down a little bit. The other big thing I think we saw change was once the Lucky Doubloon got nerfed, everyone realized quite how good Captain's Brew is. And it turns out being able to 20% chill the entire enemy team for 3 seconds, pretty good, especially in the late game. So Captain's Brew is going to get its debuff duration nerfed, as well as its AD and AP. I still think this item is going to be very, very good. Again,
like
with the rate TF
really
Cass,
like
who's the normal user of this,
Bilgewater,
it'll
but
still
with
be
all
really
these
solid.
nerfs, I don't know if I'm gonna play
And
it.
then Dead Man's Dagger. We didn't want to go too hard on Bilgewater right now, and so this is the one item we think was a little strong. But otherwise, yeah, anything to add on Bilgewater here?
Yeah, I think you've probably talked about it a lot, but this set has a lot of deep things, and we saw Piltover get innovated and refined over the holiday break. Bilgewater itself changes every 2 weeks on the optimal path. So there's a lot here, so we don't want to fidget too much because there's a lot of things for people to explore. And I think on Dead Man's Dagger, I think the other tank items are really good, but Dead Man's Dagger specifically we felt was like suppressing MF a little bit too much, and MF is still in one of those 4 costs that we really want to shine outside of the trades. So pulling some power from the trade, putting it into MF, so you can actually have one more 4-cost 80 unit to play around with.
Nice. Okay. I'll power through the rest on this page here. Ionia, there's a lot of different paths here. What I'll say is that we kind of look at the XP one as sort of like the baseline. It's a pretty solid one, and we want to get all of them to be about that level. And to that end, what we needed to do was Prosperous, the one that everyone loves, the gold one that seems a little strong. We don't mind that being the fun, like, econ one, but it also can't have all that power on top of it. So the 3 and 5 gets nerfed there.
Okay, that makes sense.
Transcendence, this is the reroll one.
Uh-huh.
Generally, we didn't like how exciting it is to finally 3-star something. You're like, I 3-star and like, ooh, I gained 10 AD and AP. Who cares?
That's true.
So basically, this is meant to be a slight nerf to the baseline, but when you 3-star something in here, because this is supposed to be a clear sign to play like Yasuo, maybe even Ari, it's a bigger bump. And so this should actually be a buff to when you 3-star. And then the other one that was pretty low was the Spirits one. This is basically the casting one. We made the baseline a little better to like we didn't want to nerf this. Well, you see the red mark here, but 3-4-5 looks a lot better than 4-4-5.
Okay,
And so
these are
the
good
baseline
Ionia
HP is meant to be
changes.
sort of a buff, so that all levels are actually kind of being buffed here, and the 7-piece should be a lot more exciting. The only other one not talked about here is the Blade Master one. Honestly, it just kind of fell below the line. We think 3 Blade Master is pretty solid for especially Yunara, but 5 and 7 right now we didn't want to act on quite yet. And then finishing off this slide real quick, Juggernaut 6-piece, just kind of below the line in terms of other defensive
That's good. Not
classes.
a lot of players
So that's
have
going to
been,
get a very,
playing
very
6-piece
slight buff here. You
Juggernaut.
can see these numbers are incredibly tiny.
So that slight buff.
Shadow Isles
might
is
be
another
good.
one where the 4 and 5 just really isn't worth running. And again, we're swinging somewhat on the champions as well, so we didn't want to swing too hard
What
on
is
the trait.
this?
Very light buff here to the
Shadow
trait
Isles.
itself.
Okay.
And then the last one is Piltover. Now, obviously, Piltover, T-Hex, etc. We'll get into some of that later.
So just from this slide lang, no, I think, yeah, they're trying to what you call this, change the flow for players getting the traits. So because Shadow Isles, I haven't seen a lot of the 4 or like the gold Shadow Isles, like going vertical Shadow Isles lately. So yeah, I think that trait or that comp is like A tier at best right now.
But the big one here is the 2-piece, the Electrical Overload. Just like the combination of this going off and the T-Hex going off, it feels like your boards get deleted. Even early, it's just a lot of power with that flat 100.
Electrical Overload, this might be moved because right now Electrical Overload from Piltover is like an S tier module. It might be moved down to that A tier. So I guess if it's the 4 Piltover modules, I guess the only S tier now is the magnetic something. I forgot its complete name. Someone messaged me again. What's this? Why do I receive the sound but don't see an actual message? Huh. Interesting. But yeah, anyway. Let's continue watching.
We're lowering
this.
it to a flat 50. It'll still be quite good, but it shouldn't be quite as dominant early. So
Yep, and that electrical overload will make it a little bit less powerful late game when it's only hitting backliners and used for assassinating backliners. It's meant to be more of like a generic damage output to help those burst crack the front line, not so much, oh, get
But
Diana
the damage
extra
amp module is
150
still the
HP, she needs
better
to kill your
one,
backliner in one
I
cast.
guess.
Yep. Cool. Any other things to add on this slide?
No, I think you got it.
Cool. All right, Ishtal. Ishtal is in an interesting spot, and this is kind of like Bilgewater. I think there's a lot of development being figured out how to play it, but there were a couple obvious things we wanted to hit right away for now.
So instead of 2
The first one is that there's a
it's just
550
one
cash out in
button.
particular that's frankly just too good. It's even better than the 625 cash out. Might even be better than some of the 700 cash outs, just because it gives you that guaranteed Brock 2 and like a 3-star Nico or a 3-star Milio. It's just way too good. So we decided to keep the 3-star like Nico and Milio aspect of it, but you're not going to get the 2 duplicators. Instead, you're going to get a completed item anvil. This is meant to be a nerf to that 550 cash out.
Okay.
The difference between the 2 550s was massive. And then there were 2 missions in particular, 2 quests that were out of line, I'd say, in each direction. The first one was if you high rolled on 2-1, you got the lose 10 combats in a row, you would hit that 550.
Wait lang. Makyat yung kapatid ko pero yung tuta iniwan. Wait lang. Come here. Kasi I'm streaming. I can't deal with you while I'm streaming at the same time. Remember, bumili pala ako ice candy. So I'm gonna eat the ice candy din. Okay.
The cash out on 3-7. That was game winning. It was just so early, things like that. It's still going to be good because this is one of the riskier ones. If you screw it up, you just are down everything. But 500 versus 550, so that if you want some of the good rewards, because 550 is where they start really ramping up, you're still going to have to do more than just 3-7. You might have to then do a couple play Nico for a round or kill a couple units or whatever to get the good stuff. And then the other one was the play 3 Ishtal for 17 rounds. That one was basically impossible. It was really hard to do. And even when you did, it was only for 500. So what we've done is we've changed it to play 3 plus, so you can play more if you want. Small change here. But also for 13 rounds, which puts this right at 4-3. So you cash it out on 4-5, which is much more realistic. If anything, I actually think this is going to be quite strong now because you can do this while win streaking. You can tempo into this. It should be pretty good. So don't sleep on this one. I think this one just got a lot better. And then real quick to finish the slide, Noxus is pretty obvious. The 5 and 7 piece.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Noxus. This good. They're buffing a lot of Noxus. Because like last patch, Noxus was very popular. The vertical Noxus, very good with like Mel.
For a while.
But I barely see. I don't see Noxus at all. You probably see like the 3-piece Noxus with like Tryndamere, but aside from that, nothing now.
So they're going to get more Omnivamp, more health, and the 7-piece is going to cast more often. So this should help 5 and 7 be more playable. Is this enough? I don't know. To be honest, I think we're always a little afraid to like buff something by 30% in a single patch. And they were pretty bad. So we're going to look into this and see if we can improve this. But you know, no guarantees it's amazing quite yet. And then Zon we'll talk about a lot as we go through the champions. But in particular, the 3-piece durability is going to go up from 10 to 15%. This applies to all levels. And then the 5-piece heal is going to go from 25 to 30.
Don't like playing Zon in general.
Yep, a couple points on here. Noxus Otacon is supposed to be your big beefy drain tank. We hit the mana like decently hard. We could maybe have gone harder, but the goal here is that he takes damage, he casts, he drains up, casts again. Right now he's only getting about 1 cast off a fight, which means you don't even see him. He doesn't do anything cool. So there's going to be this, and there's going to be a few unit buffs. And Zon, if you ever played 7 Zon, you look at your front line, you're like, what is going on outside of these 2 juggernauts? It's supposed to be beefy, give you that time to stall to build up Jinx, to build up Ziggs. So this durability buff is really going to help them out.
Sweet. All right, on the champion side, interestingly enough, there are no 1-cost champion changes. I think they're actually in a pretty decent state. Nothing seemed super urgent to beat up right now. So let's move to 2 costs. Now,
makes sense.
Bard, obviously, lost streak value of Bard, though we've seen this start to fall out of favor near the end here. But we want Bard to actually be powerful and like worth investing in, not just something you put in at 1 star, get a ton of value out of, and then get rid of. So specifically on stage 3 and 4, we're going to reduce the number of rerolls you get by 1. I don't think this will completely eliminate the strategy, and I'm okay with that.
It probably will,
but we do want Bard to be something that you're actually considering investing in. And so again, he's going to get some spell damage buff as well to actually help him be a killer. If you get him with like 6 3-star units, you know, the Bard Scion comp, for example, in low elo,
really
this is going to be a
want
buff to that.
people to stop using Bilgewater.
Hopefully that helps Bard be good. Graves, like we talked about, Graves has secretly been the thing that really allows Bilgewater to snowball pretty hard. Didn't want to over-nerf or anything like that, but he is going to lose 50 health and 5 base AD. Remember, base AD no longer affects the spell, so the spell's still going to hit just as hard, but those auto attacks are going to get nerfed a bit. Teemo 3 feels like the weak link of Yordle reroll. It just really isn't that great. So
I don't know.
giving you more reason to invest in Teemo.
Tristana, but okay.
Teemo 3 is going to get a 10% buff to the spell and a little bit more to the dot damage. Tryndamere, this has been one of the other, I think, misses of the previous patch. Tryndamere is really good, even on like 2-2. You get this guy with like 2 items on 2-2. He's hard to kill. One of the reasons he's hard to kill is his spell gives him a ton of durability, and he hits like a truck. So that spell durability is going to go down quite a bit, and he's going to get a pretty chunky nerf here. This is a 20% nerf.
That is a lot of
He's meant to be a really scary threat when he has like 80% AD and he stacked it up, not literally on 2-2. The passive increased move speed thing is more just to remove bugs, frankly. It just the way he moves was causing a lot of issues here, and so by slowing that, it'll just be less buggy. And then finally, Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate is in a weird spot where he's actually quite good in the late game. Like a TF2 with, again, Captain's Brew, Morello, whatever, can hit the whole board. He's hitting 8 units with his spell. Really quite good. But he's kind of bad early. You hit a TF2 on 2-1, it's not that good. And so we wanted to buff up a part of him that actually that makes sense, which is that passive damage. So every auto will be doing quite a bit more damage here to hopefully help TF and make up for some of the Graves nerf.
Yeah, you basically covered all of it. I think the only point left to add is that on the Bard note, we like these cool strategies. I think it's like another one of the cool things about set 16 that make people love it so much is that you can find your engine, power it up, build a whole new comp later on, and it really feels like you played a complete game of TFT. So our goal is definitely whether it's ball.
Saan yan? Kapilan. Pila naman tao na. So, yeah, my brother got scammed. He ordered a metal polish, but what came was just as a flat parcel. Metal polish is not flat at all. It's not the first time he got scammed. I don't know why he gets scammed on Shopee.
Bard, whether it's your
Doesn't know how to check reviews or like.
Or it's Ionia to not kill it, but just make sure that there's other options that you can do to compete with it.
Yep. Sweet. Okay. On the 3-cost side, Darius. Darius has been one of the big underperformers of the set. I don't think I've seen a Darius on a board in ages. So he's going to get a pretty chunky buff here. 10 off his mana, so he'll cast more often. And when he does cast, it's going to heal even more. So he'll hopefully be quite scary. Good stuff. Draven. Draven's weird. It's funny. Jinx was meant to be the like ramp up champion that once she ramps up does insane amounts of damage. Draven was a better Jinx than Jinx. Draven in early fights doesn't actually do that much, but once he gets his axes going, does a lot. Like he is very scary at the end of the fight. We tried to shift that power a bit, so he'll actually be a little better at the start of the fight, but quite a bit worse at the end of the fight, if that makes any sense, just so he's not quite so warped like Jinx is supposed to be. So buff to his base AD, nerf to the axes, should make him better. Kobuko and Yumi, there was a bug we found where it was the spell was healing twice. And so obviously if we fix the bug, he's half as good. That's not good. So we're buffing the spell back up so that it works about as intended. This is meant to be basically neutral. So this should not be a nerf or anything like that. Okay, Jinx. This is one of the big ones. Jinx had a lot of problems. Like we had one of our better scripters look into Jinx and dig in, and it was rough. There were a lot of bugs. I'm sure you've experienced them where she just would stop attacking, or sometimes it wouldn't trigger all 3 of the attacks if the attack speed got high enough, or if a target died, it caused a lot of issues. We've rescripted it completely. This will make her a lot more consistent. Now, there are some interesting things about her as we sim this a bit, where it's like she still requires, enough time to shoot her 3 attacks. So attack speed, weirdly enough, is like not quite as valuable once she gets going, but she still does a lot of damage. And then Tim and I simmed this, and we found this to be a pretty good number here. She's going to do a lot more damage. The way it works is like for the first 10 to 15 seconds of combat before she does damage, she'll be half as good as a Draven, maybe less. But man, once she procs, she will hit like a truck. And if she lives 25 seconds, she's probably going to look OP. So what I fully expect is there's going to be a bunch of times where people are going to show their like fights that went into overtime where Jinx did 20,000 damage with a Jinx 2, and people go, oh my God, she's OP. That's kind of what she does. But she'll be a playable unit. The trick to beating her is kill her quick. And then lastly, LeBlanc. LeBlanc is another one of these champions. And so, yes, this is Noxus, Draven, Noxus, Darius, and LeBlanc buffs. But LeBlanc was another one that like really just wasn't doing anything. If you've ever tried investing into her and you want your LP back, you can email me. No, I'm just kidding. But, this is a pretty chunky buff to help get her to be as powerful as someone like Ahri. So it's kind of the benchmark here.
Yeah, if you're going to put in the hoop of unlocking a champion, they should probably not be worse than a generic champion. And I think this slide is a pretty good place to bring up one of the really good points about set 16 that made a lot of things feel more powerful is that our combat
This
pacing is
feels
actually
like,
quite good
yeah, it
outside
would
of
be
certain
good to
boards
do
like
like
TX or
a
Diana.
level
But stage
7
4 and 5
reroll,
fights often
Noxus
go
reroll.
20 to 28 seconds, which is where we see these ramping champions
You
like
get the
Draven
5
shine when they
piece.
start only throwing axes, and where champions like Jinx should shine if you build a good front line. And her failing in these environments is really like kind of like a big red flag for us of like, why is Jinx not doing better than Draven here? So
Yep.
that's a good meta point.
Yep. I think if there's one thing, by the way, is we'll keep an eye on Jinx. If there's one thing that like I would say is at risk, like, you know, you can hold us responsible. We think we tried to get her in a good spot, but she's gonna have some sharp reactions. Like I think even during our playtesting, there were sharp reactions when she pops off. Like, so let us know, but definitely we'll keep an eye on this one very closely.
Yeah, I'll probably play a lot
Yep,
more
she's a unique
Jinx
champion. She scales off
when this
things that are
patch
not
goes
just
live.
herself, right? How good your front line is,
Yep.
how long she got the cast, things like that.
Yep. Cool. All right, forecast. Ambessa. This is, yes, another Noxus buff. So if you want to play Noxus, now is hopefully the time. This is also why we didn't go quite as hard on the trait. So, but Ambessa is going to slam a little harder. Hopefully Ambessa should be able to compete with other champions.
Good.
All right, Diana. This one's tricky. Obviously, I think Diana was... She's not
Nerf on
necessarily the
Diana?
most OP thing or anything in this patch, but man, she can be very unfun. We've had this paradigm before with Akali. And yeah, she
Yeah.
doesn't drop aggro like Akali, but it turns out when you have a spell shield that has no mana lock, and you can just constantly be in the shield stating, which basically means you're invulnerable, that's
True.
almost worse. So for now, what we're doing, since we can't do any like big reworks or anything like that, is we're lowering her AD, which makes her less good with Titans, because she'd actually do a surprising amount of physical damage. I've even seen some people running Darkened Scythe on her just because of that fact. So that'll get
Never
nerfed.
seen that, but okay.
And that spell shield that still has no mana lock is going to get nerfed drastically. This will make her a lot more fragile. If you target her, she should be able to get knocked down. Do we think this is perfect? Probably not. There might be some more work to do in a future patch, but this gets us at least a lot closer. And, you know, if Diana's not S tier for a while or even A tier, it might be okay for a while. Kaisa, AP form is actually in a really good spot. We think it's one of our good like baseline forecasts. But the AD form has been suffering a little bit, not by a lot or anything like that. So it's going to get a buff to the spell damage here.
That a little bit.
You have to look at this, by the way. This doesn't look that big where you're like, oh, 38 to 42.
Ballista
But it
Shadow
is
Isles
more than a
looks
10%
promising.
buff. And typically when we talk about percentage buffs, like 5 is a small buff, 10 is pretty chunky. So this is a big buff to Kaisa, even though the number might look deceptively small. So something to think about. Misfortune actually, similarly, by the way, is another 10% buff to Misfortune as well. We talked about some of the nerfed items, and Tim alluded to it earlier. We want to make Misfortune actually be able to be playable outside of Bilgewater, not just rely on the Bilgewater items to do all of her damage. So that should hopefully be better. And then lastly is Callista. Callista's a weird one. We definitely just wanted to give her a
But
generic
people are
buff, so
probably
attack
still
speed
gonna
buff
rely on
and
the
a little mana
items
down so she can cast more often.
to do
The
that,
last
though.
change you could debate if it's a buff. I think it generally is, though. But basically what happens is right now she throws a bunch of spears. 50% of them hit her primary target, and then the other 50% are divided amongst 2 targets. What can often happen is those get like overkill damage or on the wrong, like you hit some, you know, itemless Cho'Gath and it ends up being wasted. By having that number increase to 3 extra targets, so it goes from 3 to 4 total, basically there's less likeliness of wasted damage, which should hopefully help her be more efficient in like killing armies and not wasting a bunch of spellcast damage, and hopefully be a buff. But you know, it does mean it'll be harder to burst something down, so that's why it's not marked as a true buff.
Okay.
Yep, but these are all pretty straightforward. Basically, we want all of our forecasts to feel like you can play them. And I think over the holiday break, people kind of narrowed down as you do with the 5-week patch of these are only the 3 or 4 forecasts you want to play with. And I think there was a bit more future work to be done in 16.3 about how long people are playing with forecasts, because I think it's a little short right now. People don't stay on 8 too long. Some people don't even like playing on 8. They roll on 7, which is great. But then they roll on 7, then skip 8 and go 9, which is a longer term problem.
It's either 9 or 7.
Yep. Cool.
7 on Tryndamere,
And then on the
9
second
on
page,
everything
Seraphine.
else.
This is another one where if you've ever tried to play Seraphine carry, I'm sorry. It's she can do some okay damage, but primary carry not so much. She is meant to be a 4-cost carry. So again, pretty big buff here. And again, we talk about
This I'm very interested in what the bug fix is.
percentages,
On
you know,
Vhagar.
40 going to 55, that's a, like, what, 30% buff? That is a big buff. So definitely don't sleep on this. But to compensate, we did nerf the spell heal a bit, so you're not getting quite as much free utility. There were certain comps, Tim, I know you were simming, that were like, she was actually doing a lot of utility as well. And so in order for her to be a carry, can't really do that. So
Yep, she's a disruptor. She has heal. She has Piltover. The comp that Mort's alluding to is everyone's favorite PBE comp, Disruptor Seraphine with Juggernauts.
True. Speaking of Juggernauts, Singed. Singed obviously fell off from his PBE heydays. And I think part of it is like, even just his design, like we wanted him initially to be like this damage dealer, but he was also incredibly durable through both Zaun and Juggernaut. So that kind of ended up just being a really bad thing. He's also incredibly bound to Morello. Like the difference between this guy with and without a Morello is like wild.
Yes,
So
I agree.
we talked about how we wanted him to be a tank. That's like a utility tank, right? He runs around distracting things, does some damage with Morello, but not a primary carry. This guy shouldn't be equipping a BT. He should be equipping tank items. So we've changed his role to a tank. So he will actually be a tank. The move speed here is not listed as a buff because it's just to compensate from the fact that fighters get inherent move speed. So we took that away and then gave it back, so he'll be the same.
Okay.
Same with the mana per second. This is to compensate for the fact that he's a tank now, and he'll be able to generate from taking damage, which means he'll actually generate more mana. And then his heal is going to be able to heal a bit more. Again, didn't want to go too crazy here with the Zaun buffs and the Jink buffs and things like that. If we need to do more with Singed, we will, but that's why that's the case. Skarner, pretty self-explanatory. This dude's a beast. He's a great tank. Probably doesn't need to CC 3 people for 2.5 seconds. That's just abysmal for any melee unit that happens to not have a Quicksilver. Trying to make that stun a bit more fair. Yunara, this is another one that's like really obvious. She's been incredibly strong throughout the entire patch. Probably the dominant 4-cost carry. There's an item nerf that will affect her as well, which we'll talk about. But she gets a nerf here. Nothing too crazy here, but the bigger one is actually the reduction per enemy. So at least like she'll be able to still kill the first target she hits better, but she won't also snipe your backline while she's doing it.
That's good.
Which should get her down to, again, closer to like AP
Not
Kaisa
playing
levels.
using Yunara, but playing against Yunara.
And then the last one is Vhagar. You'll notice we're nerfing Vhagar, which I'm sure if you're like any normal player, you're like, why? What? Vhagar's not even that good. Why are we nerfing Vhagar? Vhagar had a bug, which we'll talk about in the bug fixes, where his spell could miss if the target was moving even a little, which really was a lot of time. Like you would be shocked at the amount of damage you've missed. Tim, I know you have a story about a Vhagar 3 game you lost because the enemy was walking. But when we fixed that bug, which I'm so glad we did, he's actually insane. And so we did have to slightly compensate nerf for this bug fix. So,
Yep, another thing that's going to be coming up is the Urinal 5 cost is also getting buffed, and we want to make sure their power difference is where it should be, so that the 5 cost Ziggs has his place to shine in fights, and it's not just, oh, I'll just put items on Vhagar, because why would I ever itemize Ziggs?
Okay.
Yep. Makes sense. Cool. Yunara, by the way, we never, like, I know a lot of people were talking about Yunara being bugged. As far as we can tell, she's not bugged, right?
I don't think she is.
Yeah, we did a fair amount of investigation in this. I know there's reports of like, oh, she gets more crit chance than intended. We haven't seen that. People are pointing to her like delta with IE. That can be explained by just her kit inherently wants to be skewed toward IE pretty well. So that doesn't give us any clear indicator. But so far as we can tell, we haven't seen Yunara have any drastic bugs with crit.
Cool. Okay. All right, 5 cost. Aurelian Soul.
Okay.
This champion, if you can put it together, like let's say you hit it really early and you hit it at 3-5 and you have the perfect items and you get casting and you get stacking, you might get third if you're lucky.
I did like play Aurelian Soul in
You
PBE.
know, just definitely not
live. I
feeling
have
like
not
a 7
played
cost.
him in
So
live at all.
I think there's, again, a lot more work to be done here that we couldn't do in the
Because
time
of
frame.
that, so yeah, that's
But for
good.
now, this guy's getting a chunky buff. This is a massive
good.
buff. I want this guy to be, you put him on your board, and even before you start building stacks, like that spell should hit hard. Now it'll have all the same weaknesses, which is like you're going to have to cast a few times to get to their back line. You're still going to need casting items. I don't think this solves all of Aurelian Soul's problems, but we are swinging really hard here.
That's
this is,
good.
25-30% buff here, which is just insane. And so hopefully this guy is more playable. That's the hope. Baron. Baron's actually getting a
All
light
these
slap
make
on the
sense
wrist.
for
Baron
me,
has
at
fallen out of favor. And we do think Baron right now is kind of tied to like certain economy augments, certain, if everyone like encounters like Scuttle Puddle, things like that, which we'll probably have to address in 16.3. So we didn't want to have to go too hard now and then undo it if we do any changes that make this true. And there are some augments being removed that kind of nerf this as well. But he is still doing a lot of damage, and so does get a nerf to his spell. More at 1 star, light at 2 star. Kindred, this is another champion I think might need some bigger work in 16.3. But for now, is just going to be a little less of a carry because Kindred provides a lot of utility. 2 Quick Striker is just one of those really good splash traits. You get that for free. Her spell shuts down so many things, and that's going to last a little bit less long. But Kindred, kind of don't really want Kindred in literally every comp, and so that's going to be a nerf to Kindred. Okay. Lastly, and this was a fun conversation Tim and I had yesterday, I think my initial impression was like Kindred is better than Lucian and Senna all the time. But as we looked at the data, Lucian and Senna were outperforming Kindred by a pretty large margin, which was like, whoa, that's crazy. But as we dug into it, we found that the items that were always doing well with Lucian and Senna were Shojin and utility. Shojin Morello, Shojin Red Buff. And yes, I said Morello, which was also a little bit of a red flag. It turns out the Black Mist debuff that they were providing is giving a lot of value. In a normal fight, if you actually watch, your backline's armor can get reduced by as much as like 20, 25 in some extreme cases. And that's even without the Lucian actually hitting it and proccing it. It's just sitting there draining a long time. That's more than Fiddlesticks on top of the aura they already provide on top. Like, it's a lot. So again, this is something we might have to do bigger in 16.3, but for now, we're at least going to lower the Black Mist duration a lot so that the odds you going minus 25 get closer to like minus 15 in a long fight or minus 12 in a long fight. And so this should sort of nerf a lot of the invisible power that she was providing just by being on your board.
Okay.
Yep, the kind of story here of the high-end AD comps is they're great utility units and they're great carries as well, which seems like so far above most other forecasts. And Yunara is only able to compete, 1, because she was quite strong, and 2, you can also put these units next to her. And that's a good point as well for Baron, in the fact that Baron has fallen off because 3 of the most common endgame champions are legendary units that can kill Baron really quick, which is Lucian, Kindred, and the Dinosaur.
Yep. Speaking of the Dinosaur, we're buffing. No, I'm
whoa, no! Okay.
T-Hex.
Okay.
Obviously, T-Hex was the biggest outlier of the patch. By the end of the patch, you would see, at least at the higher elos, you would see 1 to 4 per lobby. It was pretty bad. And so we really took a look at T-Hex, and so I think everyone had the sort of obvious way you play it, right? Reroll Caitlyn, hit the Caitlyn, spike it in, put it in, all that good. But if you actually like played T-Hex a lot of other ways, where it's like maybe you eat an Ornn or you eat a Vi, actually not that insane. And so we wanted to be careful to not nerf T-Hex too hard or nerf the wrong thing here. The first one was pretty obvious though, which is the mana regen you get from eating a caster. 3-star Caitlyn was giving you 12 mana regen. That was bonkers. That was just wildly bonkers. We were way off on that. Oops. That's getting nerfed to 245. This is a massive nerf to specifically this version, and that's intended. You're still going to get a lot of the health from eating a 3-star Caitlyn, which is good, but you don't need to be casting long enough to literally delete entire teams. That's just not okay.
Doc says eating, he means
the other thing is that T-Hex is already really durable. Usually has like 4,000 health. It didn't need an 800 health shield when it casted. That's not okay. So when it casts, it's going to lose a lot of that shield, so that if you can actually get on the T-Hex, you can kill it. That's a good thing. Then even with all of that, we looked at it and we're like, well, this is still actually doing a little too well. So the spell does get a bit of a nerf. And then the other thing is that the fall off damage is also being 75%. So all of this is to say these are very, very big nerfs. The hope here is it's still powerful when you do it, but it's not literally the kind of thing you can force from a single Caitlyn, So it might go back to like the way I used to play it before it got popular is the only good way to play it, things like that. So we'll see, but these are the T-Hex nerfs. And then real quick, Ziggs was another one that just this champion may as well not have existed this set.
Yeah.
So he's getting some big buffs here. Passive damage is going up, especially at 2-star. So going to be able to do a lot more damage with his autos. The attack speed's going to go up as well. And he'll be throwing those giant bombs that do a lot of damage.
That's good.
Ziggs, I think, now is going to be the kind of champion that, like,
I
He's
like
going
to
to
play
shock you on
vertical
the damage
Yordles.
meters.
That's
If
good.
you're one of those people that look at damage meters to quantify how good a champion is, he'll do 18,000, 20,000 damage in some fights, and you'll be like, whoa, this guy's busted. But he might still struggle to kill key targets. So we'll see.
Yep, and I think for people who are interested in this type of thing, how Mort kind of explained it is a really good way we approach problems like T-Hex, which is what do we want T-Hex to be doing? Do we want him one-shotting your backline in one cast? Probably not. Do we want T-Hex, who's a 2-range melee unit, to be building 3 damage items and no healing? Probably not. So what do we do to get him in that spot where he's doing the things we want him to be doing, which is maybe a bruiser mix, maybe a flex what you eat, and things like that? It's like, well, let's give out how much innate damage and durability he gets just from eating a 3-star caster, which is the easiest one to get. And that's how we ended up with this solution.
Yep. Cool. All right. Okay, emblems. I'm not going to sit here and read all of these, but
That's
here's
a
the
lot of
TLDR.
buffs,
I've been over this
okay.
in the Monday morning meta report like for 5 weeks now. All of our emblem augments are not great.
Okay, yeah,
if you've
that's true.
gone to a carousel that had 2 spats and a pan, usually the
No
last
one's
2
taking
people are like,
spats.
darn, I have to take a spat or a pan, you know? And so that's not a great spot. We want
Yeah.
spats and pans to be things that you're actually excited about.
Hmm.
And so for now, what we're going to be doing is giving all of the emblems quite a bit more power innately so that they're actually like, you don't feel like you're down an item slot for equipping them,
These are good.
and you can
These are
get more
good.
power. And so all the origin emblems are getting a lot more stats here. You can pause the video and read these through if you want. I think the one we went light on here was Ishtal emblem. We didn't want this to have like 500 health, and then you're like, I can't lose with it now. That feels bad. But everything
It's
else is
difficult to
getting
get the
a bunch more
Extal emblem
stats,
though, so
so that emblems should be
still
an exciting thing. And you're like, I want this. Yay.
Basically nailed it. Verticals are a little bit weaker this set as well as the power of the legendaries. So this is trying to bring up that floor a little bit, so you're definitely not taxed as much for taking a spat, which is
True,
the cool
true.
gold item that you can cook with.
true.
And we'll see if this is enough. I think what you should be looking forward to is next week's Monday morning meta report. If all of those, the bottom augments are still flexible and whatever, you know, and earths, whatever, then we'll have to swing even harder. But wanted to go hard, but not too hard this patch.
Okay.
And classes, same thing here. Again, I'm not going to sit here and read all of these. Some of these get more stats. Some of these, like Bruiser Emblem, were actually not that bad already. So we didn't want to swing too hard on the ones that were like already quite good. Others even had their bonus effect buffed a little bit, like Vanquisher Emblem can drop more gold. Quick Striker Emblem gets more heal, things like that. But again, generally the same philosophy here, which is every emblem is getting buffed so that they're more exciting. Good stuff. Cool. All right. Other items. This is a big one, and this is why, like, if you didn't see like bigger Yunara
okay.
nerfs or Vayne nerfs or
Kraken's
things like that,
Fury nerf.
Kraken's Fury is an item that when it reached its cap was just way too good. Like the difference between a Deathblade and a capped Kraken's Fury was just too wide. And I know you're thinking, well, yeah, Kraken's Fury has to ramp. It doesn't take that long to ramp because the ramp is tied to your auto attacks and a lot of the times pairs with Ginsu's. So ended up just being too good. And the fact that it gave attack speed was like always good on everyone who wanted it. So the Ginsu's Kraken pairing on everything. We don't expect that to change. I expect Kraken Ginsu's to still be Yunara's best in slot with IE, but do they need that extra 30% attack speed? No. And so for people like Vayne and Yunara, this is a 15% attack speed nerf to a lot of these champions. This is, we think, one of the biggest
It's not
changes
too
that
bad,
puts
but
AD
it's
and
still,
AP
still
back in
yeah, it's
comparison.
still big.
There is no Ginsu's nerf, and so if you've ever been in the situation where like running Ginsu's without Krakens, I think you felt the difference that you're quite a bit weaker. I think a lot of the item deltas also show this. The fact that Vaynes were often running 2 Krakens, kind of a sign. But this is one of the bigger changes of the patch, and I think probably the most meta-shifting change as far as like a systemic change. Beyond that, artifacts, Aegis of Dawn and Dusk kind of underperforming. They're going to proc a little more often, hopefully make them a little better. Kappa Juice, this one actually I'm a little nervous on. Kappa Juice, when it works, is really, really good. When it doesn't, it's terrible, shocking. That's kind of how these work. This will help it be good more often, and so who knows? You might see a lot of really strong champions with like 60 hats running around, but Kappa Juice will be a bit better. Darkened Scythe, this was another really bad one that I think started to warp the meta the last week or two of the patch.
Kappa Juice is an artifact.
But
right?
turns out Darkened Scythe had a bug where it could crit. Item
The hat
effects are
thing.
never supposed to be able to crit. So you could run like IE plus this on a Yasuo 3, and it was doing insane amounts of damage, which would then proc a kill, which would trigger itself and do insane amounts of damage.
Oh.
Very snowball-y, very problematic. This will nerf that pretty heavily. And then finally, Void Gauntlet is another underperforming artifact that's going to get a small buff here.
Yep, these are just the new artifacts that we've added. We don't want to bait people into clicking the shiny new thing and it not really paying off. So.
Oh, these are all artifacts.
Anything else with Kraken?
Oh no,
Did I
Kraken's
cover it
Fury is
pretty
not
well?
an artifact.
No, you covered it pretty well.
Okay, cool. All right, Radiant items. Now, if you remember when we launched the set, we said every Radiant item is going to be double their baseline.
The basic.
Great, cool. And in fact, Radiant Kraken's Fury gets a nerf, so it's double its baseline. Cool. But what we also said was then we'd look at the stats and see, okay, does anything else need adjustment from here? This is our first pass at that. And so the first thing we're seeing is, wow, a lot of these defensive items, and I predicted things like Dragon's Claw for sure, but even like Warmogs being bad, that feels lame. Defensive items are not as good right now, so we're going to buff them slightly.
So they're
Nothing wild here, we're not swinging for defenses.
The defense
but
Radiant items
defensive items are mostly all getting buffed because they're kind of the weak ones right now. So
that's true.
Yep. Just bringing them up just a tad where there's no like clear baits and, oh, I didn't read the stats and know that this was the bad Radiant item. We don't want that happening. Click the one that looks cool and fun and you'll do fine.
Yep. All right, augments. Not a lot of augment changes this patch. Again, part of this being the micro patch limitations. But we did want to make some big swings. Some of this was also stuff we'd done before.
Vandal Bounty is nice.
So you'll see some of that in there as
But,
well.
those are good nerfs.
But overall, here's what we're going through. So
never see
Axiomata,
it, though.
this one has to be disabled for now.
Trials
We
of
had
Twilight,
done the
okay.
localization
That's what I
work that we
like.
wanna
They
do to
buff
make this
Trials of
augment better,
Twilight.
but not the actual implementation. So
Good.
that'll come hopefully next patch.
They removed Hexgate Travel. Okay, that's definitely a very big nerf for Piltover. Growth Mindset removed. That's not too bad, but this, bro. Okay, no one's playing Piltover next patch.
For now, it's disabled. Right now, it's a bad choice anyway. So until we get it better, let's just get it out of the way. We did, however, for the silver ones, the actual ones that give you the hex, we made the backline ones always in a corner. Nobody liked getting them in the second or third spot. It just wasn't fun. They'll always pick a corner. It'll still be random, but like you'll actually get a corner, which is good.
That's good.
Bandle Bounty, these augments have an insane win rate, even at high elo, which is shocking considering like the trade itself isn't even really that good. And we did buff it a little bit. So I don't think we can leave the augments having that high of a win rate while also
I never
buffing
see
the
Bandle
champions.
Bounty around.
So these are getting a slight gold nerf. Birthday Reunion has been one that's jumped in and out of that
I only saw
field
it
of
in
OP
PB
for a while now.
Normals.
Delaying how long you get the Thieves Gloves will help keep it in line a little bit. Bronze for Life 2. This is one where the durability, especially when it gets up there to like 16, 18%, even at like 10% is like pretty insane. And durability is always one of those stats that you want a bunch of. So we're instead going to go with Armor and MR, just a healthier version. The other thing is like the math around durability is just a little weird when it stacks up. Okay. Whereas Armor and MR is a lot healthier. We can give that to you flatly. That's good. All right, Growth Mindset. It's gone. Thank you. This is one like Baron. You know, we're talking about like this augment has done some bad things. It's also how Robin beat me at Paris Open. So yeah, this is just me taking it out on Robin. Yeah.
Hey, my most fun games have been here. Breaking the game is fun.
It's true.
10 on 4-2.
But real talk, one of the main reasons we're actually disabling this is it creates a really bad optimization where what you're supposed to do is if you think there's a prismatic augment or even a chance of a prismatic augment, you're supposed to save up as much gold as possible until 4-2 so that you can hit that like 90 gold, proc this, and then spend a bunch at high value. That's not healthy. We actually do still want there to be a like plus XP augment. Just we need to do one that doesn't have a really lame optimization like this. So until we do that, this one's going to go away. Hexgate Travel's another one that I talked about on the Monday Morning Meta Report. This thing's insane. And as long as T-Hex values 3-star units over 2-star units, this will always be insane, in my opinion. It allows you to hit those without having to pay any cost towards leveling up. And I think that's just not going to be okay. So we're just going to remove that. Soul Awakening has been another one that's like, even with a high pace of combat right now, this augment's still overperforming. So as we slow things down, it's going to get even better. So preemptively nerfing it. And then Trials of Twilight, this one, hopefully you should be taking this when you have at least one Xin Zhao already. Although I know a lot of people are taking it to try to finish their Lore Finder. But having another copy to hopefully get you to that 2-star Xin Zhao, to have a nicer early game, preserve some health.
I like that.
Then hit the 3-star better.
I really
hopefully
like
buff
that.
it up a little bit. There's probably more work to be done here.
like-
We didn't want to go too
I like
crazy
unlocking
for now,
Zahen.
but hopefully that
In
helps.
general.
And that's the augment changes.
Yep, I think you nailed all of it.
All right. Now, oh god, do I have to read this?
Bro,
Okay,
there's
we
so
fixed a lot
many
of
bug
bugs.
fixes.
It's a long break. We weren't just sleeping.
I'm not
Yeah,
very
well, I mean,
interested in
part of
this.
this
but
was,
let's,
like,
yeah, let's
team, and it
forward
dipped and-
this.
Augment icon. Ionic. Yeah. Your surrender
That's a
miss
lot
if
of
enemies
bug fixes.
move more than
That's good
one
for
phase.
them, but I'm not interested.
Timing properly
I
checks
think
at
that's
the end
just
of the
it.
combat phase.
Are
We
there
still
more?
have more work to do on this. I know the
Okay, I
inconsistent.
think we can stop there. So what are my thoughts? Okay, good. They kind of not really buffed or nerfed Bilgewater. They kind of reworked Bilgewater, so that's, I guess, okay. Definitely a lot of nerfs on Piltover and T-Hex. Definitely a lot of nerfs on T-Hex, so that's actually good for the meta. What else? I like the Trials of Twilight thing. It's easier to get the 3-star Xinjiao. The Ionia fixes is good. Nerfs on Yonara, I think, is okay. They do make sense. What else was there? The Yordle reworks or the adjustments there are good. The bug fix on Veigar, I hope to see that in live. So that's good. What else? What else was there? The Ishtal thing is okay. That does make sense. The Juggernaut and the Shadow Isle Straits buffs were also very good because not a lot of people are playing the 6-piece Juggernaut and the vertical Shadow Isles recently compared to like the previous patch. What else? Noxus buff is definitely really good. I really like to play Noxus with the Atakan buffs. Yeah, I really like to summon Atakan because I don't know why. It's just interesting to see that guy. The nerf on Tryndamere makes sense, definitely. The buff on Bard, I don't know. I think Bard because they wanted Bard to be like a more of an attacker instead of just the utility. You just 1-star Bard and I'm not sure how that would like adjust or how that adjustment would affect most of the meta. The 3-star adjustments like the 3 cost, not 3-star, 3 cost adjustments were really nice, I guess, when it comes to especially the Noxus ones, Darius Draven and the Blanc. Definitely good buffs there. The Kobuko Yumi spell heal, the Jinx buff as well. Yeah, so the reroll on 7 would be good. Adjustment on Ambessa. The nerf on Diana, that's good. So yeah. Alright. Let me turn on my Spotify again. We're listening to Day 6 You Were Beautiful and we're playing some TFT. Ranked games. In game si si Arnie. Invite ko kaya si Arnie. Kaso nagda-rank din siya, oh. Ay, tara G. Ayun, G daw si Arnie. Sige, hintayin natin si Arnie, guys. 너무 예뻐서. Ang daming message ni Jamie. Pwede mo natin spectate si Arnie. Spectate na lang muna tayo while waiting. Pa tayo ma-spectate. Pa tayo ma-spectate si RD. Uy, soda pop. Ba't di ko maano si Arnie? Baka kasi nakaano ako, nasa party ako. Spectate. Ayun pala, okay. To fill me up, pachika macho pado. Wait lang, CR lang din muna ako, baby. That I need taste so sweet. Everything with me no more, yeah. Look at this sign, look at me like that. Ay, ako to. Meditation, baby, like you do. Ang tumato ng tabayan? Yan. Gaya. Oh, I realize that it shattered the breeze. Take a better sana sino para believe you do. Pinaipa yung saging mga on. Kay Arnie na ba to? Itong mahok to. Saan si Arnie? What is he playing? Piltover ba ulit? Eh, hindi! Bilgewater! Okay. Ano nasa shop niya? Ah, di ko ma-check. Hindi niya pa mabili yung grapes. Isang grapes na lang. Yun. Si 3 star na ba yung ano? Yung Gunplank? Okay. Crystal. Ay hindi, Warwick. Kala ko Crystal. Kala ko na ano? Na yun, Idali. Warwick pala. May isang bard. Pag nag-yordle, may isang bard. Tapos may Pandora's Bench pa siya. Ay, hindi, si Arnie pala yung may Pandora's Bench. Ano ba dinadrop sa ano? Dinadrop sa Bilgewater pag nag-Tamkench? Yung ano ba? Dinadrop ba yung TF? Sa to over 400 viewers, kumusta kayo yan? Baya ba kayo? Nagro-roll si Arnie. Ayun! 2-star agad yung MF niya. Ayun, may Tamkench na. Roll once. Ayun. Tamkench. I-feed mo yung ano, i-feed mo yung ano. Ala, hindi niya na-feed. Dinrap niya yung ano, yung ilawi yung dinrap niya. Mga dupe. Dapat i-feed na niya yung Tamkench. Hindi niya na-feed yung Tamkench eh. Ang dami niyang dupe oh. I-dupe na niya yung ano, yung Nautilus. Ayun. Sana all. Kailangan niya ng BT. Ay hindi, Shojin yung kinuha niya. Yung Nautilus spray! Ito nagro-roll. Yun na kinuha yung ano, yung fizz. Ano yun? Ayaw niya mag 2-star fizz. Two-star na sana yung fizz niya oh.
Ano kaya?
Sige, sige. Feed, 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 feed. Okay. 2-star mo na yung Nautilus. Gamitin mo yung tube. Ayun. Buti nagawa niya. Yung fizz sayang, 2-star na dapat yan eh. So okay lang, hindi naman na-itemize yung fizz. Paano lang siguro niya sa virtual yung fizz. Ano din drop niya? Drop siya to 6 build water. Binenta yung Fizz. Ayaw niya ata sa Fizz. Mag-drop to 5 build water siguro to siya. Tapos mag-gunslinger na lang. Main carry niya yung Graves pero parang... Malakas ba yung Graves? $9.7k. Ano ba siya? At di ko makakita yung ano yung board niya. Bagal. Tama, shred. Feed. Kinuha yung alawi. Hindi niya finid. Yun. Siya nagro-roll. Ba't siya nagro-roll? Ano hinahanap niya? Sena? Dapat mag-9 siya. Lakas pala ng Graves, no? Naka 3 gunslinger. Ay, 2 lang pala to. Maganda kung may ano, may emblem. Kaso hindi nabubuo yung emblem eh. Sino quick striker? Hindi, pangit yun. Nag-drop talaga siya. Binenta yung gangplank. Hindi pa niya na-feed. Hindi pa niya na-feed. Feed mo muna, Lods. Hindi niya na-feed yung Tamken, shawit. Niluwa yung ano. Niluwa yung set. Kainin ulit yan. Kainin ulit yung set. Ooh. Top 4 secured. Ayaw niya mag-level 9. Feed muna. Captain's Brew. Hindi niya finifeed yung TK niya. Ba't kaya ganun siya? Kainin niyang dragon. Magagaring pa siya. Ay, i-feed niya sa Tamkens niya. IE? Uy, T-Hex! Yun lang. Matutunan ata yung MF niya. Ay, buti hindi na target yung MF. kinain yung T-Hex eh. Oh, kinain ulit. Kaso talo. Naka-mining drill pa ata yun. Sino yung kalaban niya? Level 10? Mining drill nga. Level 9 siya. Ano hinahanap niya? Benta mo yung Azir. Ba't niya binili yung Leona? Pinakain mo. Hindi umabot yung Kindred 2. Kainin yung browser. Ay yung sayo. Dilawa lang ito. Boom! GG's. Si Arnie na ba yan? Si Arnie na. Sino kasama? Plat 2 din siya. G! Wait lang, kunin ko muna yung ano ko, ice candy. Nakakit pa naman. Can't see with the sun. Nagpapabili pala si mama ng ano, utan. Oras ba ako? After na lang. Nagpinis ito alas 6. Utan pa naman siguro. Ice candy ko, nakalimutan ko. Wait lang. After ng game na to, remind nyo ako guys bibili akong utang.
I do not tolerate cowardice.
I'll leave you the scraps.
Piltover ba ako? Wait.
Hands on my meal!
May nakakuha ng ano? Ng Loris.
I win!
Ay.
The sea is ripe for battle.
Paano ako? Ay, nabenta ko yung ano, Anivia. Diyan ka lang. Ang Tryndamere game ata to.
Those who find Ishtal do not live to speak of it.
Hmm.
So, which one is the pig? Kidding.
Don't worry, Bristle. I'll leave you the scraps.
Protect the faithful.
Let's go.
This'll be a slaughter.
My aim is steady. We must press on.
Follow my blade. Never stood a chance.
Ay, iba bang naka-Tryndamere? Many hundred Piltover. Madawiro. Ang ganda mo.
My
Take
right
your
arm is a
mind.
lot stronger than my left arm.
Ito, may naka, ano, sino to? Code. Contested ako sa Tryndamere, pero sige lang.
Timo, are these mushrooms your rations or your ammo?
I'm a fun guy.
Never stood a chance.
Uy, dalawang bow. Yung isa nasa ano pa? Nasa Sejuani. Yun, kinuha yung isa. Wait. Ng Toad, kailangan ng Toad eh. Yun lang, kinuha yung isa pa. Ayang. Hindi naman kailangan ni Arnie yung ano ah. Awit sa'yo, Arnie. Level 5 si Arnie. Hindi naman niya ginagamit yung ano. Awit.
Pick a card. Never stood a chance.
Sword.
I am your worst nightmare.
Na-forge ko ba yung sword? Forge ko na agad. Okay. Binasa.
It ain't luck, it's destiny. Pick a card.
Easy, Bristle. The arch is mine.
We must press on.
Follow my blade.
Whoa.
Not Draven, Draven.
Santa 행복해. Oh. Pagkukunin pa yung bow, ewan. Ay, kinuha talaga. Awit.
Fresh veins unwashed. You must be Draven.
The Freljords shall unite.
They will regret opposing me.
Drop ba yung ng gold yung ano? Hindi ko napansin.
Shall unite. The Freljords shall unite.
I am your worst nightmare.
Dinrap niya. Sino nga to, Phaeton? Kilala ko ata to, Phaeton ah. Sa Excellency. Ano ba Excellency yung Phaeton? Di ba ba? Wala ko Excellency yung si Phaeton.
Nightmare.
Are all suddenly so weak?
Ayan, may bow. Tapos mas maganda kung ano to, belt. Wait. Sige, okay lang.
Pick a card.
Next nga natin to. Napakasad naman ng music. Sword overflow.
The cold does not forgive. The cold
Nga lang,
does not
ano to?
forgive.
Ayun.
For the Freljord!
Okay.
Not Draven, Draven.
Okay.
We must press on.
Follow my blade.
That worked! I fooled them all.
Oh,
Just looking for a road home.
I am your worst nightmare. You remind me of all those reckoners no one remembers.
Natay yung Tryndamere ko. Ang kunat ng Sedge.
Dawn is the future.
Na kailangan ko belt. Kinuha yung belt. Axe gold na lang. Si Arnie lagi kumukuha ng ano ko.
Dawn is the future.
The Freljord shall unite. The Freljord shall unite.
Gamitin ko ba? Gamitin ko na para mag-spike ako.
Not Draven, Draven.
I'll leave you the scraps.
Ang ko ng ano, Noxus Swain. Wait.
Nico, teach you a lesson.
Pwede I could roll for Nico. Ito na.
Witness the strength of Noxus.
Sa ugo at nachulgo Nega marichan Nega sarang. Talo pa ako sa Yordle. ng Tristana. Tapos may anti-heal pa to.
The cold does not forgive.
Yan mo ako ng ano, belt. Ayun. Dalawang belt pa binigay.
My right arm is a lot stronger than my left arm.
Pwede ganito din naman.
Nico, teach you a lesson.
The cold does not forgive.
More sparkles, now.
Punot ng mundo. Ito may antahil ako.
Are all so weak.
No hiding.
Do I keep rolling ba? Don't give up. Tunat ng swing. Level 9 si Arnie.
The cold does not forgive.
No worry, me, doctor.
Level 8 siguro. Roll 4 swing.
You must press on.
May swing si Arnie. 2 star na yung swing niya. Nag-drop ng aggro yung Fizz, grabe. Go, para may damage din yung ano, walang damage yung Ash ko eh. Pwede GS. GS. Kinuha. Si Arnie talaga, kinukuha yung lahat ng items ko. May ginso na lang din. Look at that. Right there.
Wuju style.
Foul swarm.
Wuju style.
Guns blazing.
Oh, wait, talo ako sa Yordle. Kailangan ko na mag-roll. Roll. Wag na.
My fervor unbound.
Witness the strength of Noxus.
Aish. Okay, last one. Hunter x Hunter pala yung
One sweep
Phaeton.
of the palace, 5 new problems.
Xinjiao. Kaso... Okay. Pwede ako mag-Xinjiao. Trials. Ayun na. May experience dapat ngayon. Ako lang ata naka-Xinjiao.
Vasya clears
Pwede ako mag-Xinjiao.
There's so much pain in Xinjiang's heart. Why?
Weapons.
Vasya clears the path.
Blast 'em!
Protect the faithful.
Demacia.
For my father, the king.
The king's spear obeys.
New direction.
Vasya clears the path.
Village start. Branching out. At least it gives me direction, right? Freljord. Freljord.
I command you to die.
Freljord.
When does the killing start?
Freljord. Anong magagawa ko sa Freljord?
Those who find Ishtar do not live to speak of it.
Ano yung com ko? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wala akong comp.
Into battle.
Battle worthy of the Freljord.
Ay.
Or I will carve it from your face. My right arm is a lot stronger than my left arm.
Looks can be deceiving.
This is the latest in Failurian fashion. I call it a skirt.
Brindamir, this is fun, right?
My lungs.
I am your worst nightmare.
Tier siguro, tier or belt. Priority sa tier. Failure. May belt pa. Pwede. Pwede, no? Kinuha yung Lissandra. 7 failure.
Easy, Bristle. The arch is mine.
Are all so weak.
Pwede ko i-drop yung Tryndamere. Di ako mag-Tryndamere. Kahit si Joa, ay kahit Ash, di na ako mag-Ash. Puro invoker na lang, no? Invoker. Ano? Ano ba yung ano for invoker? 1, 2 1, 2, 3, 4. Hindi, ano? Kubuko. Wag ano? Orn. Ano yung Volibear? Bruiser. Horn. I-drop ko to. Lesson. Wukong. Fear. Okay, may fear. Okay, dalawang tier. Nice. Ako magsa-sunfire dito. Saan ba yung anti-heal ko? Nakaka-heal eh. Pair of Force. Wait lang, ano yun ako? Ano ako mag-Wukong? Mag-Pair of Force? Hindi rin eh. Tons of stats na lang.
Did you say something, amigo?
Hindi pala na kasi bruiser na to eh. Dalawa na yung bruiser eh. Defender talaga. Garon pala. Wah! Oh. Binigyan ako ng ano. Okay. Bigyan ako ng Azir, kaso aanin ko yung Azir. Mag-roll sa 8. At 2 star man lang yung ano ko. At 2 star yung Lysandra. Tsaka yung tawag dito, Brom. Ano na kailangan ko? Lahat na matitira sa akin. Best na lang. Best sana dun ano belt eh. So kinuha na yung belt. Si Arnie na naman kumuha ng belt. Wait. Wala ka dyan Arnie. Ewan ko sa'yo. Wala ko.
Follow me, friends.
Yan mo ko ng Lysandra. Ayaw ko bigyan ng Lysandra. Sige lang. Benta ka na to. Ito rin. Wala na kailangan yun eh. Ang besa pumunta sa backline ko. Pa. Nasisi pa. Ano ka ng Lysandra?
That bow is of the stars, as is its mistress.
Know this! I am Ash. I am the bow. Guns blazing.
For Demacia.
Drop ko.
Your name is your oath, Crown Guard, and both are in place.
Demacia!
Pinalipat yung items. Sila okay lang. Ano ma-unlock to? Invoker pala. Dapat pala hindi ko binenta yung Milo. Emilio.
Rome lives another day. Witness the strength of Noxus. Keep your spirits high.
Kneel before me. Did you say something, Flamingo? Let's go, Flamingo!
Kailangan ko ma-2-star yung ano ko, Lysandra. Bully bear over this guy. Roll. Ito pala no. Ito ko play to over something. Pero mag-level na lang ako. Ah. Nautilus pa pala yun, no? Orn. Gusto ko Orn.
Together, we would harness a storm to consume the world.
I will not forsake my home.
Ah. Buhay pa ba ako? Wait. GG. Okay, end stream na tayo guys. Thank you very much for watching. Salamat kay RD. Hindi naman siguro nanonood si RD. Kung manood man si mapanood man to ni RD. Salamat sa iyo, Lods. Kita kits. So guys, din po tatapusin ang aking stream. Thank you very much everyone. I'll see you guys ulit tomorrow. Baka magano tayo tomorrow, Ragnarok, okay? I love all their faces. Bye-bye!